I think what a lot of people miss is this whole aspect of the supernatural, the context of what happens to Yeshua, okay? Because it's not just that he's in the wilderness and he gets these words. He is at the top of the temple. He's in Jerusalem. He's had an amazing supernatural transmission. He's been transmitted in the Spirit to this place in an instant, okay? Well, who can do that? I mean, is that not God? And if God has brought me here, well, then isn't this him speaking and testing me in my faith to jump off because it's written that he'll all that? Okay? This, brothers and sisters, brings for me the first major point, which I think we need to learn from this text, from this test. Okay? And it's that the supernatural proves nothing. I'll say it again. The supernatural, in and of itself, proves nothing about the source of that supernatural experience. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 8 through 10. Then that lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will slay with the breath of his mouth and bring to an end by the appearance of his coming. That is, the one whose coming is in accord with the activity of Satan, with all power and signs and false wonders, and with all the deception of wickedness for those who perish because they did not receive the love of the truth so as to be saved. That's Paul's way of saying that Satan and the beast have power, authority to do signs and wonders, miraculous things, okay, that look like to most people, I mean, wow, if that's not God, what is it? Who is it? Okay? Some people like to say, well, false wonders, it's really not, Satan doesn't have that power. He's kind of like smoke and mirrors. He has this way of sort of manipulating things to make it look like it's a supernatural thing, but it's not really. I disagree. Revelation 13, talking about the beast and Satan, okay? He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down out of heaven to the earth in the presence of men. Folks, that's not smoke and mirrors. That's real fire. That's not smoke. To call down fire from heaven? Wow. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which it was given to him to perform in the presence of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who had the wound of the sword and has come to life. It was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast who was dead, so that the image of the beast would even speak and cause as many as do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Okay? This is real supernatural power that on the surface looks, it's real events, real supernatural things, but the source is not God. It's satanic. Okay? And I think we need to think about this for a moment, because I've noticed over my years in ministry that a lot of people, I'd say especially Westerners, when I say Westerners, I mean people from the modern sort of world, in the Western world, who don't grow up with a lot of the supernatural, even Christians who grow up in a pretty modern, rational universe, who aren't used to the supernatural. When the supernatural happens, they think that must be God, okay? I've seen many times where people prophesy or get a word when they hear someone pray for them, and suddenly that person speaks things about their lives, their history, something in what's happening in their situation, the struggle that they're in, like they're reading their mail. They go, oh, that must be God. Well, it's not that simple, okay? I came to the Lord in Japan. I've spent a lot of time in the Far East. I've seen in both China, Japan, there are people who read palms. And it's not here in Israel, actually in the synagogue across from my street. There's a yeshiva, a Jewish seminary, where people come to study with a rabbi who's famous for reading the palms of people's hands and kind of prophesying and healing and doing all sorts of stuff, okay? So it's everywhere, all right? And the question for us, a lot of people, Western Christians, dismiss all that and say, that's not real, or it's not accurate, it's all false, it's not real. And my experience is that a little different. I think it is real. Just like the fire that Satan can call down from heaven just like the experience that Yeshua has, it's real. There's an accuracy. There are fortune tellers, like in Acts chapter 16, that little girl who was making a lot of money for her handlers. Why was she making a lot of money? Because everything she said was just nonsense? No. By a familiar demonic spirit, she was able to intuit. I think she probably had an intuitive gift in her own natural self, as I've noticed with certain people, to kind of read into people's souls and to check things and to make little connections and sort of prophesy, and people go, oh, she's understood. There's some accuracy there, okay? A story in the Old Testament, 1 Samuel 28, one of the craziest stories about the supernatural. Saul goes to visit the witch of Endor after Saul has cleaned out the whole land of all witches and soothsayers and fortune tellers, okay? And there is an accuracy. She calls up Samuel by Saul's request. Samuel speaks and rebukes Saul and prophesies to him and gives her a word of knowledge so that suddenly she understands that it's King Saul who's speaking to her. Now she's afraid. Supernatural communication, supernatural revelation that is not godly. It's tameh, it's defiled. There's problems with it. It doesn't have the pure application and the gospel sense of love and purity and all the things. But the point is that the supernatural can have many different sources, or at least it can have a satanic source, but it can feel and look just, it can be real.